Please welcome to the stage, from St. Matthew's United Methodist Church in Annandale, Virginia, the Carol Ringers and the Peace Ringers, led by director Nancy Capel.
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Jim Androkonis. My family and I have been part of the St. Matthew's music program for many years. It's such a happy occasion to be here with you this evening to ring in the Yuletide season with these wonderful musicians, and we're so happy the place is filled up with Yuletide spirit. Joy to the World and While by My Sleep were combined in this arrangement by Michael Joy. Joy to the World was composed by Isaac Watts. His mother had a poetry writing contest between her 9 children to see who could come up with the best poem. From a family of 7 myself, we had several games and competitions, but they were more along the lines of the quiet game or the clean up your room game. We never had any poetry contests, but I don't know how they would have gone over. There were 6 boys and a girl, so what are you going to do? But in any case, Isaac won the prize. However, his father didn't think that he had much talent, and so when Isaac told him he didn't like the hymns in church, his dad got irritated and said, well, if you don't like the hymns, write some better ones. So instead of feeling defeated, Isaac took up his father's challenge. The congregation loved his hymns so much that he wrote one each week for 4 years. Now, our next piece this evening is We Three Kings, penned by John Henry Hopkins, an Episcopal bishop in the 1800s. He wrote this piece for his nieces and nephews to perform in a church Christmas pageant, and it was published in 1857. Joel Rainey, the arranger of We Three Kings for handbells, utilizes various percussion instruments to highlight this familiar tune. Our instrumentalists are Brittany Corbin and Sarah Guth. carol ringers attend 6 different Northern Virginia high schools and all attend St. Matthew's. They're active in youth group and going on week-long mission trips to Appalachia to rebuild houses in the summer. 9 of them are in the vocal choir that sings several times every month and present an annual musical as well. They're active in band, chorus, sports, scouts, cheering, equestrian competition, rifle club, ROTC, and their high school's leadership teams. 11 of them are seniors this year, and all of them have played handbells for 5 or 10 years. One of them, however, at this very moment is outside washing Nancy's car, and that's what happens if you don't play the right notes, so let's keep that in mind. I'd rather be here under the hot lights than washing Nancy's car. The 63 Impala with 175,000 miles on it. Their next piece is O Little Town of Bethlehem. It was the site of Bethlehem itself that gave Phillips Brooks the impulse to write this hymn. He was a rector of a church in Philadelphia and took a year off to tour Europe and the East. As he toured the fields around Bethlehem, he also saw where shepherds were to have watched their sheep, heard the angels, and saw the star that led them to the stable in Bethlehem where Jesus was born. Returning home, Brooks penned verses of O Little Town of Bethlehem. He asked the choir master organist at his church, Louis Redner, to compose the melody for this carol. Mr. Redner had trouble writing the tune at first, and finally, the night before it was to have been sung, he jotted down the melody in the middle of the night when he woke up. Just prior to the worship service, he filled in the harmony for the choir. Our large chimes, played by Noah Freeman, will add depth to this arrangement by Kathy Mokelbust. Each summer, the youth handbell choirs of St. Matthew's go on an 8 to 10-day tour. 8 if they don't lose anybody, 2 days to find the kids who can. That's not really true. Next June, the Ringers will travel to Davenport, Iowa to attend a 3-day handbell festival conference. Approximately 600 ringers will rehearse together and present a final concert open to the public. They will also attend classes on handbell techniques, drumming, and repertoire for handbells. They will listen to individual choirs. They'll play during one of the concerts as well. And on the trip, the choirs will perform at a church each night. The church will provide dinner and overnight housing. Our next tune, Sleigh Ride, is a popular light orchestral piece composed by Leroy Anderson. The composer had the original idea for the piece during a heat wave in July 1946. He finished the work in February 1948, which seems like a pretty long heat wave to me, but nonetheless, I don't question it. He's got a song of some longevity, so we move on. The lyrics were written in 1950 by Mitchell Parrish. It wasn't specifically written for Christmas, but consistently ranks in the top 10 most performed songs during the Christmas season worldwide. Our arrangement is by Martha Lynn Thompson, an organist in Little Rock, Arkansas. Sarah Guth plays the sleigh bells, and Jack Louie plays the temple blocks. In 1979, the Carol Ringers played at the White House during the Carter administration until the Carter administration found out they were there and summarily asked them to leave. In fact, you met Jimmy and Rosalind, did you not? Have their picture with them? The Carters looked a little pained in the picture, but that's probably because the kids were eating them out of house and home before they could get them out. They also played for Mrs. Reagan and performed at the White House during the Clinton administration. The Carol Ringers played 6 times in Constitution Hall as guest artists of the Air Force Band in their Christmas concerts. In 2009, they played at the Kennedy Center Concert Hall stage 3 times as part of the Choral Arts Society of Washington. Last December, 11 of the 16 Ringers here today had the opportunity to play at the State Department for the Diplomatic Corps. They saw James Taylor entertain and then were thrilled to meet President Obama. We're going to the State Department again next week. Each year, the Carol Ringers join the Peace Ringers, the group you'll hear later this evening, to perform here on the Millennium stage. Bell Carol Fantasy, better known as Carol of the Bells, which is the Carol Ringers' last tune of the evening, wasn't originally a Christmas song. It was a well-wishing song composed by a graduate theory student who was fulfilling a classroom assignment to use a Ukrainian folk tune as the basis for a piece. When Mykola Leontovich wrote the song in 1916, the lyrics depicted a swallow heralding the coming of the spring. Peter Wilsovsky heard Leontovich's choral work, and it reminded him of the bells, thus the title. The lyrics became popular around the world and were associated with Christmas as it refers to silver bells, caroling, and merry, 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 merry Christmas. If your cars need washing, the carol ringers are finished for the evening and ready to get rid of those gloves and put on some rubber gloves and get the dirty work done. Well, our next group that's setting up now are the Peace Ringers. They're made up of 17 adult ringers from all walks of life. They all have rung bells at St. Matthew's or other churches or schools as a teen or college student. The Peace Ringers live and work in the Washington metropolitan area and come to St. Matthew's to ring bells. The group started in 1996 when 26 adults came to the first rehearsal of the only adult bell choir, and we didn't have enough bells or space for a large group to ring. The decision was made to divide these groups, thus the Peace Ringers were born. They attend a yearly handbell festival, alternating with our other adult handbell choir and attending a festival at Ocean City, Maryland one year, and a handbell festival at Riverside Church in New York City the next year. They'll soon be setting up to play Sing We Now of Christmas, a 15th century Christmas carol, and actually one that Nancy herself brought over at that time from the old country. At that time, I think that's right. At that time, however, it was known as Noël Nouvelette, and or that was Nouvelet, excuse me, or Bob Goulet. I'm not sure, one of the three. It is one of the oldest European Christmas carols to survive to modern times, and we're happy that Nancy did the same. But seriously, folks, arrangers have taken many liberties with the text, as I am now, but in the end, the spirit of the words is retained, and of course, the melody is the same for all the renditions. That melody is Perky and Chipper, two of the Forgotten Elves, and its colorful main section is well known as well. The text tells of the birth of Jesus and the scene at the manger. In our handbell arrangement by composer Cynthia Dobrinsky, we find the melody in many different forms, changing in tempo, in mood, and in melodic content. Pam Godlove will add the flute, Karen Frame the chimes, and Kathy Wall the percussion instrument. English handbell ringing began several hundred years ago as a result of tower ringing with a rope for every large bell in the churches of nearly every town in England. The cold air blew through the towers as the ringers would practice for the coming Sunday. The people in the town could hear the ringers' errors as they listened, and there was no community association to tell them when to stop. Someone designed a smaller bell for the ringers to rehearse at inside locations where it was warm and where the townspeople couldn't hear the mistakes as they practiced. It was in the early 1800s that handbell teams were formed in England. They played for music festivals and celebrations and wore matching outfits. People Look East was written by Eleanor Farjeon in 1928. Her most familiar hymn is Morning Has Broken. People Look East is a hymn about preparation. Love is on the way, and the one who will receive love must prepare accordingly. Love is a guest in our churches and in our houses. To prepare for its arrival, the house is tidied up, the fireplace cleaned, and adorned, and the table set for the meal. The tune of People Look East is heard in the high bells first, then the middle bells, and finally the bass bells. The arranger is Jason Krug. Enjoy. The angel Gabriel came from heaven, or from heaven came, refers to Gabriel speaking to Mary and telling her that she would soon give birth to the Savior of the world. Angels play a remarkable role in the Christmas story, and Joel Rainey's arrangement is filled with intensity, joy, theatrical splendor, and wonder, capturing the drama of what it must have been like to have actually seen an angel appear before you. Kathy Wall provides percussion to enhance our performance, and as you listen to this tune about angels, I would ask you to perhaps close your eyes during the playing and think of an angel in your own life, and perhaps you'll be able to see that one in your mind's eye as well. However, remember while we were playing this song to think about who might have sponsored the bell choir that came to the U.S. in the 1840s. There may be a prize awarded to someone who will know the answer, but I must caution you the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts prohibits wagering. So let's not have any wagering, but there may be a question about who might have sponsored the bringing of the bells to the U.S. in the 1840s. All right, so that's a little something to think about as we hear the Angel Gabriel from Heaven Came. It's CD giveaway time. St. Matthew's people, you're not allowed to answer this question, but who sponsored the English Handbell Choir that performed in the U.S. in the 1840s? Anyone know? Yes, ma'am, up here. I need that in question form. It's like a thing with tents and no, and even more Pacific than that can you be? I think that's good enough, don't you, Nancy? Yeah, that's probably good enough, yeah. Come on up here and snag a CD.
She must be a bell ringer.
Oh. She was here last year. Well, Nancy, how's your car doing? Does it still need to be washed again? Get that Impala in prime condition. All right, well, anyway, the person in charge of the ringers in the U.S. wanted the circus audience to think the ringers were from Switzerland. And so he had them dress in lederhosen, which I was going to wear tonight as sort of, I wasn't ever going to wear lederhosen. But Nancy was. But she yeah. But anyway, and they were not to speak to the audience on the days they played in the circus. There are no bell choirs in Switzerland, but there are many tower bells and a whole lot of cowbells. There are no cowbells playing tonight, but the next tune is Carol of the Birds. The old Andalusian tune, Carol of the Birds, was a favorite of the cellist Pablo Casals. Joan Baez actually sang it on a Christmas album as well. The verses, when sung, tell of different birds wanting to come to see the baby Jesus. The eagle rose into the sky, proclaiming the birth. The sparrow sang of happiness. The lark saw the birth as a look into spring. The cuckoo sang about the coming of the dawn. And finally, the partridge professed that he wanted to build his nest in the stable so he could see the baby smile. Pam Godlove will play flute, and Kathy Wall adds percussion. Following the circus and bells, families brought sets of bells to the U.S. and played in their communities. In the 1920s, a gentleman by the name of Dr. Shercliffe purchased a set of handbells in England for his daughter who lived in Boston. She gathered some friends and her children and taught them to sing and ring Christmas carols. Margaret Shercliffe told her neighbors if they had their outside lights on that they would ring for them on Christmas Eve. Margaret Shercliffe helped to start the New England Guild of English Handbell Ringers so directors could share music and techniques. In the 1950s, the American Guild of English Handbells was formed and sponsored festivals throughout the United States. St. Matthew's began going to festivals in 1979 when Nancy traveled to Maine with 16 youth. The American Guild of English Handbells has changed their name to the Handbell Musicians of America and now has over 1,000 members, each representing one choir, at least one choir. St. Matthew's has 8 handbell choirs, 3 children's, 3 youth, and 2 adults, resulting in more than 100 ringers. Our handbells are made of 20% tin and 80% copper. Now don't shout out, please. But what metal results when these 2 metals are melted down together? Think of that answer during the next piece. The composer of God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen is unknown. In 1843, Charles Dickens included the song in his famous novel, A Christmas Carol. When it was first performed as a musical at the first sound of God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, Scrooge seized another actor with such energy that the singer fled in terror. Hopefully the players will not cause you to flee in terror, but we've organized the choir for this piece to highlight the women on the bass bells and the men on the high bells. However, you will notice, those of you who are very observant will notice, Michelle Peters is playing the middle bells, and you'll have to be very observant to notice that. God rest ye merry gentlemen. Okay, what metal was procured? 80%, once again, no St. Matthew's people. 80% copper, 20% tin, melted together. Yes, in the back, maybe one seat off the aisle. No, this aisle, yes? Did you say brass? You did? Yes, I think she said bronze, didn't she? Yes, bronze it was. Come on up, please. Always trust your first instinct. Last thing we need is another audit. All right. So Ruru Chu was written in so-called villancico style, which became popular for songs in post-Renaissance Spain. Such songs had a text expressing some principle of Christian disciple. This carol became one of the more widely known works in its time. Versions of it today contain updated translations to filter out archaic words and meanings. One here hears a peasant-like festivity mixed with Renaissance-era elegance. Pam Godlove will play the flute, and Sarah Kennedy, Ann Wells, and Kathy Wall add percussion. We thank you for coming this evening to our Christmas concert and wish you all a happy holiday season.